Hello, my name is Lawrence Gold. I'd like to start out by saying I'm not Alfred Hitchcock. This is really an entertainment for me right now. From time to time, I like to entertain myself by talking about the structures of reality I call the TetraSeed. And that word will be meaningful to you if you've come across some of the TetraSeed transformation procedures, which are published, freely available online in the blog Full Spectrum Somatics. That's just a quickie. So I recently had someone that I've been working with in the way I work with people who, in all earnestness and well-meaningness, followed a certain program that I published, but he did it in such a way that wasn't really closely conforming to the instructions. What does it mean, closely conforming? It means that people can have a general idea and then they stop listening and just do the thing that occurs to them. That's kind of one part of the spectrum. And the other is that they really listen and they get the intention behind the instruction and they see to it that they do exactly what that instruction describes. That means correcting themselves if necessary, in noticing, really looking and noticing, are they actually doing what they expect they are doing? The answer is often no. So, what I discovered is that people have a kind of limited listening capacity. Why is that? What happens that uses up people so quickly that they don't have much listening capacity? Because this is probably epidemic. We kind of see it in mediocrity throughout the world as things are roughly done. It's not fine. Fine design is not a characteristic of our time right now. People's attention appears to go off of things before the thing is really mature and ready to expose to the world. And sometimes people don't take the time or the intention to take it far enough and spend the time and take it far enough that it represents a fine accomplishment, not just a crude accomplishment. It goes with a person's ability to see detail in experience. And the thing is, people, if we don't see detail, we don't know we're not seeing detail. But there is a kind of an awakening of attention that occurs that when you feel your moment-to-moment experience, it is a bodily sensation, not a mental experience. It's a bodily sensation. It has its analog in movement. You have people who are only rough, crude movers. You watch them move and they are ungainly, heavy, plodding. You know what I mean? They're not moving gracefully. Got to own up to it. There's a large predominance of that in public. You don't see very many people who move really well. When you look at them, it's a pleasure to see them moving because they move so gracefully. I'm leading up to something. What I'm leading up to is this matter of resolving power. I know that came out of left field, but you'll see the relationship in just a moment. Resolving power is a term in optics used to indicate how sharp an image can be obtained. Resolving power. Mentally, resolving power occurs when your resolve about something involves enough attention on the thing that you're resolving in your mind, whatever it is, whatever thing you're resolving to do, are we feeling it deeply enough to know when our movement feels on purpose, on target, as intended, coming to fruition, active, situated, durable, and yet changing the activity changing, activity changing creates new memories. The memories are the memory of the presence of the thing, of its persistence, its being there, having a location, being locatable. So being persistently present in a location that can be located. That's a certain line of connection. Then there's intending attention. Intending attention. Intending attention falls into the subject of attention deficit disorder. Attention deficit disorder is probably an imprecise term. I suspect that there are a number of varieties of it that they kind of lump under attention deficit disorder. But I think there are different ways of expressing the inability to keep your attention where you intend to. Now, that could be because you can't remember what you're keeping your attention on, and so you drift off. That's one possibility. The other is perhaps that you're taken away in reverie. You're just swept away in well, idealistic imaginings, hopeful imaginings, ideal outcome imaginings. All those are in the imagination. So now if a person intentionally imagines that, and by that I mean whatever they're intending, what they're imagining that they would like to have come actual. Feel how that went down? What they're imagining that they would like to make actual. And that takes persistence because it doesn't have much actuality if it doesn't last very long. It's got to have persistence through time. It's got to be present over time. And being present over time, being subjected to the changes of the day, going through the changes of the day intentionally, meaning when you go through them, you deliberately attend to what it is that's before you, before me, and a creative impulse is the only thing that makes it go. It isn't something that comes from me. I allow the space and time, and it comes to me. And not even that I can predict, oh, it's going to come to me at some point, but it's like that is the experience of it. It just comes to me. I don't cause it. However, my job is to capture it, to make it durable, to make it endure over a period of time, to make it persist, to make it present and make that presence persist. On that basis, we can say that has that much duration. And what is it that is enduring is some sort of activity. Something in existence is enduring. Something that exists is enduring. Activity that exists is enduring. If it doesn't endure, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist if it doesn't endure. These are facets. I'm highlighting them for you. Just taking you on a little tour. You see how those things fit together, like you can intentionally imagine. But you could also imagine that you're intending something, which is pretty much the same thing. If you're going to intend something, you've got to imagine it into existence and keep it there. But the timing of the imagining doesn't appear to be up to us. Our role is simply to capture it when it's given. I'm going to do another linkage. We could do the linkage of, sure, imagining and attending to. Imagining, attending to. Attending to, imagining, imagining. Okay, then intending, remembering. Intending, remembering. Remembering, remembering. Remembering, intending. Remembering, intending. Intending, remembering. Remembering, intending. Remembering, intending. 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 Intending, imagining. Imagining. Imagining, intending. Intending. You feel the charm of those combinations. They do something to your consciousness of existence in the ordinary form before which you see it. That these connections tap into primal, intuitive differences that interfit with each other and interplay to create our experience of ordinary reality. Everybody got them. Nobody ain't got them. The only difference is, for some people, these are not accessible to them. They don't have a link to those basic faculties, which I'll say momentarily. I just say some people are really asleep. Some people are really imbalanced. Some people have internal hidden conflicts that are unapparent, but can be made apparent just by doing certain linkages, such as the ones that created the effect that you experienced a few minutes ago. So you can heighten this intensity, this heightened attention, more than attention, it's heightened intensity, it's heightened ability to pay attention and stay on what you're paying attention to. Without being driven nuts by your inner mind. So there is a procedure that's built out of these. Listen, and I will tell you how this all goes. First, we'll start with the first set of 4. We'll just call it that for now. And those consist of intending, imagining, remembering, and attending, or attending to. Attending. Those are the 4, the first 4, and they all link up together to let's just call it a thought form for now. That's a good start. The 4: attention, intention, memory, and imagination, or imagining, intending, attending, and remembering. See, we're stroking those like strings on a harp. And if you're following with this, you're feeling your strings being plucked. That's the first thing I call the TetraSeed, because it has 4 points of reference and 4 faces. And what does that mean? Attention faces things, doesn't it? That's what you do when you pay attention. You face it. When you're intending something, you're pushing. So on one hand, we have attending, locating something, and the other is pushing. Now put locating something and pushing together, you can get a feeling pretty quickly of what that it feels like. Pushing at a location. It comes up pretty easily, even though there's not much content to it, but you recognize it. So imagining connects with remembering. Imagining is how you remember things. You want to remember something, you imagine it to yourself repeatedly. You also put your attention on it and keep your attention on it. So really, you're using intention to keep your attention on what you're wanting to remember, keeping your attention on what you are wanting to remember. But in effect, what happens, you do best if you take your attention off and place it on it repeatedly. That repetition refreshes attention. And it also stimulates the imagination by the contrast of the on and the off. It stimulates the imagination to a kind of openness, which imagination, remember, is receiving a mystery. What do I mean it's receiving a mystery? What I mean is, you don't know what you're going to imagine before you imagined it. And then when suddenly you imagine it, it happened before you knew it. That's why I said it doesn't come from me, it comes to me and through me. It comes through me if I make a point of capturing it, in some way, like speech or instructional experience. Get the point. Creations. And of course, if we're also connecting, remembering, and attending, we just did that. So keep your attention on something intentionally, you're going to remember it better. But you've got to be open to receiving something new. And that's where your attention has to be open in the form or feeling of imagination, the way of imagination. So you have to be receptive. If you think you got stuff in mind ahead of time, that's memory. Imagination is receiving from the mystery. That's what imagination is. And memory captures it. And then if you put your attention on it and exercise some initiative, known as intention, you may make that tangible. You may undertake to create something, some creative thing, either, it doesn't matter what medium, do some sort of change in your life, which is creative. That is, you actually are energized by the influx of intelligence coming into you about this thing. And therefore you get interested in it and excited because you're getting an inflow from who knows where. For all I know, it's extraterrestrials. I couldn't care less. What do I, okay. My experience is not that. My experience is I am as utterly unpredictable to myself. I am emerging out of mystery, out of an unknown that I don't even know. And by time I know what I've done, I've already done it. Which is everybody. Everybody's in that same situation. The difficulty people get into is that one or more of those four that I've named are not working very well with the others. It could be memory that's faulty, either because the person never developed much capacity, but probably more likely memories are blocked out, that they are immobilized in a person and they fade away, but they retain the coloration of their effect in us. So they become unconscious memories. The attention has gone off the memory. See, the attention and intention are not to be on the memory. So the thing goes out of memory, but it doesn't go away. It's just temporarily not being engaged. But as, you know, as long as you stay distracted from it, you can avoid the unpleasantness. But I suspect that your capacity will be rather limited. In any case, it is a tax on the individual being to have these attention off memories, right? Sometimes we even imagine something else, which is we then store into memory as a conflicting memory with a memory that we don't want to remember. And therefore we distract, because either one of those two is a fool's game, meaning we've been fooled into getting lost in it. The way out is to wake up those four faculties when they've gone asleep. That way, the intelligence comes to the fore sooner or later. It's true, though. It's true, though. So, see, I haven't told you the formal structure. I've only of the crystal crown procedure. I'm getting there, I assure you. I just outlined the pieces with which we're playing, and I gave you kind of a taste of how they can be used. And now there's more. You see, that was just the subjective side. Attention, intention, memory, imagination are all the subjective. That is the I, me, self, all that. The me orientation. It's all memory. And it's the memory of intentions, and it's the memory of things that are there to pay attention to or that are to be avoided. And maybe even imagining that everything will go fine, never mind, that doesn't matter. Sweep it under the rug. That's a kind of a deliberate act of imagining, that it's kind of out of sight and therefore out of mind, but somehow still there. And it is our own lives, where we have swept under the rug experiences of one sort or another, or perhaps never really woken up to begin with. In either case, to highlight those four is helpful. However, as they like to say, but wait, there's more. And there's the objective side. The objective side consists of two sets of four. The first of the four is activity. Activity. The next is changing. Activity, changing. Changing. Changing activity. Activity. Changing. Changing. Changing presence. Presence. Presence changing. Changing. Presence. Presence locating. Locating. Locating presence. Presence. Presence location. Location. Location presence. Presence. Location. Location. Persistence. 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 Location. 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 Persistence. 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 Location. 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 Presence. 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 Location. 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 Activity. 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 Location. Location. Activity. Activity. Presence. 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 Activity. Activity. Changing. Changing. Location. 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 Changing. Changing. So that's the, I call that the transitional set of four. The first are the subjective. The next are, I call them transitional. It's where it's an experience of process. You have activity as process, changing as process. Presence is how we locate a process. If it doesn't have any presence, it ain't no process. Okay, so you locate it as present. That's how we locate a process, is by attending to it. And that's, in this case, I have to clarify something here. Okay, I started off teaching you the most recent version of the crystal crown procedure with which I've been experimenting. By the way, there's nothing lost in this interruption. You will just pick up where we left off. However, my habitual and customary way of describing it didn't take that into account. And so I I kind of I set up a certain premise, which is that this is about process, but what it appears to be is about process upon something. So in intending, imagining, and imagining, intending is process. It's activity changing, changing activity. That's process. You see how those go together? Intending, imagining, imagining, intending. Activity changing, changing activity. Imagining, intending, changing activity. Intend, imagining, changing activity. Imagine, intending, changing activity. Intending, imagining, changing activity. Okay. So you see that that's processed. If we do now, we do the other pair, which is presence, location. Location, location, presence, 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 location, 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 presence, presence. That's more an identifying as something, right? So it is the object. The first one is acting upon. The second, that is activity changing, acting upon, presence, location. Activity changing, acting on, presence, location. Let's be even simpler. Activity locating. Changing presence. Activity locating. Changing presence. Activity locating. Changing presence. Presence changing. Locating activity. Presence changing. Locating activity. Presence changing. Locating activity. Presence changing. Locating activity. Let's go back to the other pairing. Presence, location. Presence, location. Activity changing. Presence, location. Activity changing. Activity changing. Presence, location. Activity changing. Presence, location. Activity changing presence location. Mobility, activity changing presence location. Kind of a primal somatic sense of self and surroundings, or foreground and background. Self, foreground, other, background. Unless, of course, you can manage to shift your point of view, which is kind of an act of imagination. It's got to be. It's got to be at least participating in it because it's a new development. And also, it's being foundationally made persistent in memory, given persistence, given the persistence of presence, given persistence of presence, given persistence of presence, given persistence of presence. You happen to notice anything about your attention at this moment? Was it wandering, or has it steadied a whole bunch? If you're bored and you're wondering, when is this going to be over? It's Group A. These are psychoactive pairings, right? I ain't whistling Dixie here. Because they actually derive from fundamental features of existence. I'll give you the next four. There are 3, 4. So there's 1 subjective and 2 objective. 1 is the in process side, and it is the acting of something upon something. The next one, I don't even know what kind it is. Let's explore and see what shows up. So it goes like this. The first is existence. Existence, appearance. Appearance. Appearance, existence. Existence. Appearance. Appearance, persisting. Persisting. Persisting, appearance. Appearance. Persistence. Persistence, locating. Locating. Locating persistence. Persistence. Locating. Locating existence. Existence. Existence, locating. Locating. Existence. Existence, location. Location. Location, existence. 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 Existence, persisting. Persisting. Persisting existence. Existence. Appearance. appearance, location, 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 appearance, 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 location, 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 appearance, appearance, existence, existence, persistence, 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 existence, existence, appearance, appearance, location, 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 appearance. Okay, so I gave you a little extra, what I call a crossing of the swords. Again, sets of pairs pitted against each other. And if you got it intuitively during when it happened, then you know what I mean. If you didn't, it'll just be a mental complexity to try to put into words. It is a sooner or later thing. It's not difficult to turn these things on. You just have to intend it, and you make use of the rhythms that I've discovered and formulated and evolved and use for yourself, and see if you can rev up your intelligence to freakish proportions. So anyway, that I've shown you now 3 rings in effect. There was 1 ring for the subjective side, attention, intention, memory, imagination, and the cross connections between attention and memory and imagination and attention. So that's the first ring. And then we did the second one, which involved activity, changing, presence, location. Activity, changing, presence, location. In the lingo, could be, let's get the hell out of here. And you have intending, imagining. Presence, location. Intending, imagining, presence, location. See, this is turning on things in your neural network, in your brain, all over the place. However, you're not experiencing it that way. You're just experiencing whatever kinds of little ahas and awakenings and that type of thing that you're, whatever you happen to be experiencing from this little streaming here. Now, there is a whole nother dimension of this. So first I want to point out we have 1 subjective ring and 2 objective rings. One of them is more about process and the other is about fulfillment. That's what the second ring is about. Process and fulfillment. So you have appearance, you have persistence, you have existence. It's a pretty good hand right there. If you were playing poker, you'd be close to a flush. However, there's only 4. There's only 4. So we have to choose a different game. But you get the general idea. Now let's get the last one. So now there's all the cross connections between all of those. We just created 3 rings. Actually, what they are is, I just call them rectangles or squares, 4 sides, 4 points with the crisscross that connects all the points. All the points are connected. And we have 3 of those One is a subjective, the other is process, the other is fulfillment. You see, this is just ringing true in intuition. So now, this way of interconnecting them. So that every piece is connected, every point is connected with every other point. Every power of intelligence is linked in with and synergizes with every other one. This is what we're after. We want total integrated synergy. This is called turning on your light bulb. I started out earlier, I was talking about resolution. And the thing is, to a casual attention, you don't get much resolving power. You really don't see much detail. You know, you just kind of make a jumping assumption that what you saw and what you heard was something you already knew and did that instead. However, it is my hope and expectation that people who are following the stream of awakening that I'm conducting, that was wonderful. Okay. That if you get into it, there's a lot you can do with it. That's probably the best way I can think to say it. There's a lot you can do with it. And it's, but the first step is to get those things turned on, which is what the crystal crown procedure is for. So I have highlighted for you the 3 sets of 4 that, when assembled, form the crystal crown. And I'll just start it out with you, and you'll see how it goes. We're going to do intending as the all-around focus first, and you'll hear how it goes. Intending. Intending, changing. Changing. Changing, intending. 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 Intending, presence. Presence. Presence, intending. Intending. Intending, location. Location. Location, intending. Intending. Intending, locating. Locating. Locating, intending. Intending. Intending, location. Location. Location, intending. Intending. Intending, locating. Locating. Locating, intending. Intending. Okay, so that was intending. Everything was related to intending, except for intending's natural counterpart, which is activity existing. We don't do that connection at the beginning. We finish with it. It's the seal. So we did intending. Now we can do imagining. So it's imagining activity. Activity. Activity, imagining. 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 Imagining her presence. Presence. Presence, imagining. Imagining. imagining presence, 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 imagining, imagining. Imagining location, location, locating, imagining, imagining, imagining location, location, locating, imagining, imagining. Has his own little flavor. Now we do remembering, remembering activity, remembering activity, existence, remembering existence, remembering existence, activity, activity, remembering, remembering changing, remembering changing appearance, remembering appearance, remembering appearance changing, remembering changing, remembering, remembering location, location, locating, remembering, 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 locating, remembering, locating, location, remembering location. Now you may be feeling or having a feeling recognition that this could be sinking into you more deeply. Chagrin, I believe, is the word. Good news is the more you do this, the more it do sink in. So there's a well. There's a well. Now I've just done up through remembering. We have one more to go, which is going to be attending to. Attending to. And it goes like this: attending to activity. Attending to activity, existence. Attending to existence. Attending to existence, activity. Attending to activity. Activity. Okay. Attending. Attending to changing. Attending to changing appearance. Attending to appearance. Attending to appearance, changing. Attending to changing. Changing. Attending. attending to presence, attending to presence, persisting, attending to persistence, attending to persistence, present, attending to present, present. And that leaves us with the final four, where all the home rings, subjective and object process and object fulfillment, have been stacked next to each other and everything interfitted, except for the final four, which are the original four pegs. That's the nickname I've given it to in the beginning of learning the crystal crown procedure. But what we've done today is not the formal. I've taken you through something, a riff. So we do the final four, which are driving in the pegs, and you will recognize them next time you do the crystal crown procedure. So we're starting with, and we're going in the reverse order. We're going in the order attending, remembering, imagining, intending. This is the movement of backing out of or withdrawing from entanglement or immersion in an experience. Those words are meaningful only upon your direct experience. Therefore, I shall not elaborate, but you may have had your intuition twanged by my saying it. So to continue here, it goes like this. This is the four pegs in reverse. Attending, attending to locating, attending to locating location, attending to location, attending to location, locating, locating. Now you might be feeling a certain new sensation, which we call resolving, as if coming into focus. Saying it just in case, so you know that I not fooling me. I expect I can feel pretty well what you'll be going through. So let us continue with remembering. Remembering presence. Remembering presence persisting. Remembering. Remembering persisting. Remembering persisting presence. Remembering presence. Presence. Rings your bell a certain way. So what I have said, the bell has been struck. The last one, no, the next one is imagining. Imagining. Imagining changing. Imagining changing appearance. Imagining appearance. Appearance. Imagining appearance. Imagining appearance changing. Imagining changing. Changing. And now you have a little bit of a sense of how you feel about that. And the last one is intending. Intending. intending activity, intending activity existence, intending existence, existence, intending existence, intending existence, activity, 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 existence, 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 active, active, intending active existence, intending existence, intending existence, active, intending activity, activity. Well, ought to feel both very new and very familiar. And now you know another reason why I call this the crystal crown procedure. Sometimes you need a few fittings. All right, I did what I came for. You can find me where you can find me. Let's see, where is that? Well, on YouTube, my channel, Lawrence, numeral 9 Gold. Every YouTube video in the description has my contact link. So that's all for now, folks.